Dear Venerable Sirs, Dhamma friends, according to our numbering, this is the 108th retreat, and it must be 108, I think. It is special thing is we are conducting it in English medium, and today is the first question and answer session. We intend to have 1 hour of time period, and during that time we will take time to discuss first thing, what about the basic instructions given yesterday, how much you have understood and how much you can you need any clarification further regarding sitting meditation, walking meditation, and in the day-to-day activities. The second thing is today morning administered precepts, 8 precepts. If anyone is having any doubt or need any clarification regarding the observation of precepts, that also will be one part and parcel of the topics in today's question and answer session. And the third aspect is when we are leading a spiritual life, or specifically here residential retreat, we have a timetable, we have the orientation and the rules and regulation, and these things, if you need any clarification or any amendment necessary, you may please raise questions for this session. And these are the 3 things we have already given, and expect kind of a response if at all. And in addition to that, we take time for interviews. But this is a kind of a group interview, not personally, individually. So if you have any question regarding your meditation progress or clarification necessary, provided that whenever we have time, we will take other issues, something related to our spiritual life, Dhamma matters, or the ethical and social problems, but we take least interest upon them. Basically, main thing is to have group interviews, and first, second, third day, we will take time to, as I mentioned, what are the importance of the precepts and how much it is important to understand wordly meaning or literal meaning, as well as our application to that, and the basic instructions as well as the constitution we agreed upon. So each and everyone can participate to this discussion in 2 ways. One thing is you can write your question or statement and put into the box, question box. The second thing is, while it is conducting, if someone of you needs any kind of chances to present questions or make remark, please raise your hand, so we will pass the microscope, and then you can talk so that others can listen. All the group, otherwise recording also will be possible. So these are the 2 things. Whenever you write your questions, not necessarily you write to your name, it must be anonymous, but whenever you are talking, of course, it will be identified, and you will be making out of the crowd. So these are the 2 things each and everyone can take part. So we call this one first question and answer, that is writing and I give the answer. Second thing is group interviews for your meditational and experience questions. Third one is Dhamma discussion. The third one is the Dhamma discussion, so that I may invite the relevant person to come out with their experience and the response. So this can happen as a dialogue also. So given that basic instructions being the first day, I would like to start the session with written questions. I will ask Sanjay to present the written questions one by one, please.
Teruvan Saranai, Swamin Wahansa, kindly let us know Kalyana Dham and how we can develop this Dhamma with Metta.
It's one word, Kalyana Dhamma or Sappurusha Dhamma. It's called noble teaching or true teaching. So each and every teacher says, my teaching is noble and my teaching is the truth. So only listener has to decide which one is leading to the so-called truth as well as for the nobleness. The simple criterion what I can say is, by listening to that kind of Dhamma, if your stress is reducing, if your tension in the mind is reducing, that you can take it as a temporary measurement, whether it is beneficial or it is leading to the ultimate truth. So therefore, when and where associating a person or Dhamma or teaching, that must have a kind of a release of your tension or release of your frustration. That's a simple criterion I can present. Otherwise, it's a lifelong experiment.
Venerable Bhante, when Bhante says, here now I am, does it apply to all the 6 senses? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, thoughts with metta?
Usually, in this context, eye means the 6 senses. That is the conventional truth. But in pragmatically, out of these 6 senses, only one dominating and others are being suppressed. So therefore, each and every time, all the 6 senses are not working. So therefore, theoretically you can say yes, 6 senses, but practically, given time, which one is dominating, and that indicates who am I. Just like a television with the 6 channels, whenever you are opening one channel, that means you can't entertain other channels. Likewise, we have to understand, or we gradually comes to know that even though it is potential is there, possibilities are there for the 6 channels, something like the eye door and the visual objects, ear and the sounds, nostrils and the smell, tongue and the taste, body and the tactile sensation, and the mind and Dhamma. Given time, only one is working. If you know that very thing, you know I, who am I, you know all the 6 senses, so therefore, partially this statement is correct.
Venerable Bhante, when I am meditating, when my mind is calm and staying at the primary objective, suddenly I feel like the whole system is come to a halt. That is only for a fraction of a second. My concentration only breaks for that moment and I got back to being focused. I am just curious to know what is that feeling. I am getting lots of merits to you with metta.
You may please repeat the question.
When I am meditating, when my mind is calm and staying at the primary objective, suddenly I feel like the whole system comes to a halt.
Yeah. So that means in our normal thinking, we are already stuck with time and space dimension. We can't go beyond it because we are always outwardly. As far as we are outwardly, all the projections, all the dreaming, all the fantasizing, everything happen within space-time dimension. So whenever you go inwardly, there may be some chances or split second where you shift the paradigm from the space and time and you lose your memory, you lose your place and the time. So it is as if you discontinue like. So completely dissolve into and again manifest yourself. So when it is happening, if you are not with faith, if you are not with precepts, and if you are not ready with the mindfulness, you may go and consult psychiatrist. And psychiatrist will send you mad. So that is the point the Buddha says, where whenever your attention inwardly, or we call insight, there's a kind of alignment. For my understanding, the faith, precepts and the mindfulness must be aligned. Whenever the alignment happens, power transmission happens. So you cut through, you just expose into the no space, no time kind of a thing. So you are not accountable. All the rest you can have a bookkeeping. So in the meditation what we do is we just bookkeep. We mark this is the object, this is what happened, and try to avoid as much as possible extroverting and try to put insight whenever the time permits. Whenever they get aligned, this kind of thing happen. So if someone is asking what is the next and what to do, the simple answer from the Buddha is facilitate more and more so that you can experience this kind of a thing again and again. Then your phobia, your uncertainty, entertaining doubts will be reduced. You will understand this is also part and parcel of your mindset. And it is a part and parcel of yourself. So therefore, one day you will understand the highway from this rational mind to this kind of a thing. When Sigmund Freud presenting that kind of methods through hypnotism and counseling, free association, Carl Jung, as far as they were friends, he told, Sigmund Freud is finding the highway from the conscious to unconsciousness. At the beginning it appears like accident or mishap. So you entertain doubts, you don't know. But if you are living a life or lead a life in such a way, again and again if you can go into this unconscious situation, considering it also as a part and parcel of your entity, you may find a direct relationship with the rational to irrational mind, and that the day you recognize it, the day you appreciate or day you go prepared, whenever you come back, you feel you rejuvenated. You become fresh. You will feel like you are getting another life. So that is how you go against the time. So therefore let that happen. But in order to not to entertain doubts, make sure the faith, make sure precepts, make sure you are going with more and more mindfulness, and you may see there's a kind of a direct relationship as and when you go advance in meditation.
Dear Bhante, could you please explain Anupassana and how we can practice this with metta?
The Anupassana is, with respect to the early statement I made, or the early answer I made to the last question, when you are meditating, all of a sudden, unexpected thing happens. Whenever happens, the particular person is met up with a question or problem, am I to go into that or not? So if he or she can directly communicate that into an advanced yogi, she or he is in a betterment because other person can understand. Unfortunate thing is, many can't communicate it. They are going to give their interpretations and their value judgment, then the other person can't understand. That is simple because you don't know how to tell the truth as it is. If that is happening, if the advanced person or teacher or mentor or other your guidance think it is good, they recommend Anupassana. They recommend go into that again and again. Not that you can go directly with your will and the volition, but the thing is facilitate so that it will happen again and again. So when Jnanarama, my teacher, used to say, that is what you call be prepared, go prepared. When you are going prepared, next time when it is happening, it is not much of an accident or uncertainty. And Anupassana means observing the same thing again and again. Or let that happen again and again, you go prepared. So this is what you call research. in scientific world, you already saw it and you design your research so that you can repeat it. Any person repeat, any players you repeat, same answer has to happen. So difference between the modern science and the teaching of the Buddha is, Buddha give equal weight to the external and internal. That is what yesterday I tried to explain when we are inaugurating. But science is completely cutting off inward journey, so outward thing happen. So meditator, male or female, what he going to do is, let it happen again and again and compare it with outside, so that it is also becoming a research. The Buddha call it noble quest or Arya Pariyesana. The only tool is Anupassana. You repeat, you let it happen again and again. Go prepared. The day that become your second nature, the day that become normalized, you become amphibian-like, trapped within the space and time and trapped beyond the space and time. Then you can see the beyond the space and time, no tension, no frustration, and it is a walk over. There's no fight over there. Only fighting and one-upmanship and everything is in the space and time. So we are born with, often we are fighting it, and if we are not meditating, we are to die with that restriction. But whenever someone is lucky enough to go to this, and if the Anupassana is well understood, he or she let it happen again and again, then you find that is also another equilibrium where you can live. You can find the balance. So any person experience it, the most difficult part is to tell it to the other party, because they will never understand there is another equilibrium beyond the space and time. They think it is mystics. They think it is something, someone's blessing or kind of thing. So that is the difference between the other religious teaching and Buddha. The Buddhist is very scientific. Externally you can do. Some people are so lucky to do it even internally, and they can compare internal and external, and that is what now people are doing. Try to put scientific interpretation, terminology, methodology to the meditative experience, that is transpersonal experience or transformation of consciousness. They try to graph from the rational mind to this kind of a thing. So nowadays research are really going from science to the mystics. So if someone is doing Anupassana, he may find the marriage between the rational mind and this mind beyond the rationality. So the tool we call Anupassana.
Dear Bhante, while doing Anapanasati meditation, experience in and out breathe deeply. When I breathe in and out, but not able to identify being middle or end of the breath, please explain. Thank you.
Not only that, there are many facets. If you keep one object in view with the same shape and the same manner, never repeat. Each and every time you see different shape and the different manner, that is called natural characteristics. So whenever the recognized shape is changed into something, our mind is fighting, grumbling, and find it as a threat, find it as something irrational. So whenever meditation is to reveal, meditation is to progress, the simple thing is your observed shapes and the manners will be changing. So if you have a broad-mindedness and open-mindedness and preparedness, you will simply report it, never ask why. Why is a destructive question. We have no rights to ask it. Only we can tell, we saw the breath, the middle, beginning, the middle and the end clear, and next time I saw the same breath, I can't recognize the beginning, the middle and the end. That's it. So who is qualified to answer the why. No one. Only thing is you can just report. Just report it, that is the maximum. And while reporting, putting your interpretations or your opinions, not necessary. So this indicate you are progressing. But hardly anyone understands this as a progress. They consider it as a threat because your mind is always fixed with permanent notion. So therefore anything going to change in the shape and the manner, it appears like a threat. Because in the evolution, we are so corrupted regarding the security. Whenever something changes, we feel threat. So therefore, whenever new thing happen, we have what you call neophobia, the fear of unknown, so we never progress. So meditation is something, you are not completely opening, but little bit keep it open, little bit expecting that kind of thing, and ultimately you can see each and every manner, each and every shape, each and every individual characteristic, natural characteristics, subject to change. So keep that open. Today is too early, specifically for the beginners. When the meditation continuing with residential retreat, continuing with the momentum, third day, fourth day, you can see mind is slowly preparing for this changing or different manners and the different shapes, and for that we must work together as well as individually. So we'll keep it open and we'll strive through.
Dear Bhante, when doing sitting meditation, Anapanasati, breathe gradually ceases. After some time, feel happy and content without thoughts. Feel like body disappearing, then sometimes body becomes still. Please advise me. Thank you.
Body become?
Still.
Yeah, this is from the Buddha's view or terminology. The Buddha mentioned our life is full of sensuous pleasure and changing from seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching without any order. So it's all karma guna, the multiplication of sensuous impingements, and that is what we call varietal entertainment. That is what we do in the household life. So some people start with that, live with that and die with that. That is the whole life. But a small proportion, this is, what is this after all? It's almost like beasts. Beasts are also doing the same. Sensuous pleasure. But are we also going to lead the life completely as the beasts, or what is the evolutionary or karmically some extraordinary thing for the human being, that is called Dhamma, or the understand the nature, and then what is the alternative? Therefore some people develop that kind of a quest. Are we also meant to live this complete sensuous life? Sigmund Freud mentioned as a sexual life. Buddha was little decent, he mentioned sensuous life, sensual impingement and sensual indulgence. And then instead, if someone wished to see another dimension, another paradigm, Buddha proposed Rupaloka, or concentrate upon one particular materialistic object. Maybe your body, maybe your in-breath and out-breath, maybe your rising and falling, maybe your left leg and the right leg in walking. They are called materialistic Rupaloka. So instead of roaming around different materialistic things, focus upon one. That is the simple way of meditative life. But it is not an easy task. Only the meditators knows. They come and sit on the cushion, be symmetrical, relax and observe your body, and you can understand your monkey mind jumping from one to the other more than when you are at home. It's a threatening, it's a kind of a challenging, never stay. So therefore meditators, at the beginning they have to strive. And some very little proportion, some or the other try to find a balance or try to balance, keep the object face to face, and as far as they are with one single object, they are not in the sensuous world, but they are in the Rupaloka or materialistic world, so they can go temporarily or few thought moments, maybe sometimes hours, living with one object face to face, maybe in the Samatha method, tranquility, or Vipassana way, momentarily. So that he or she get a chance to see the differences of that very particular object chronologically, because he or she can keep the object face to face. So this is a very advanced level where he not only tame the object, keep the face to face, and he is doing insight meditation, so he says chronologically what is happening to the object. The Buddha, as a rule of thumb, he says, if you look at one object, what is happening is fading off, becoming subtle, ultimately becomes subtlest. It is not a meditation, it is a universal thing. So you are just observing it. So when it is calming down, becomes subtle and subtlest, your mind is training into this kind of a different dimension, something like a pilot training under the gravity, and when he or she become an astronaut, has trained in the gravityless area. So something like that, you feel as far as the object is disappearing, becomes subtle and subtler, your attention reduces, stress reduces if you go prepared. If you are a learned person, if you are a theoretically understood, if you are a person with a theoretical understanding, you can be. But some people, of course, develop fear, uncertainty. But if you can manage to, you can understand the materiality is becoming subtle and subtle. And if you can facilitate it, less and less tension. So when that happens, that particular person loses me and not me relationship. His boundary is going to dissolve. As far as the stress is there, as far as the materiality is there, me and not me is the boundary, and there you have to always fight to maintain it. But whenever the materiality is disappearing, me and not me disappearing, so it's like a suicide bombing. You are committing suicide. So many can't tolerate that kind of a situation, because you can't have your own memory, you can have your own three-dimensional configuration, you see everything dissolves. So it's a very interesting, important transition, and always you must have a senior yogi or kalyana mitra or true person or noble person to discuss with and to get a proper interpretation. It is very rare. Not only in Sri Lanka, everywhere in the world, that area is more than what you expect. Many people have potential to go up to that. But no one can sort it out. Therefore, often they come back and start fast breathing, force breathing, and try to come back to the material world. But if you are well prepared, theoretically, as well as you experience, one day you can see from this known materiality to the unknown subtlety, you can go there. Then me and not me boundary is not there. And as we discuss, the memory and the space, time disappear, but still you can be mindful. That's the beauty of mindfulness. Still you can be mindful. No dimension, no time, no space, no object, but you can be mindful. So that is the moment you are experiencing the death, and if you are thorough in mindfulness, you can go through the death, even the death, through the mindfulness. So therefore, if you are not prepared and going to the death, you can imagine what kind of a thing you are going to face. So a person who is lucky enough, consider this as a threat, consider this as something mishap. But still if he or she is prepared that kind of thing, the death is no more a death. You can understand the procedure happening, but still you can see mindfulness continues. So this is the most refined or most skillful or most diversified mindfulness. Unbelievably, it can go through without time and without space. And that mindfulness is not belongs to you. It's a kind of endowment you are training, so that we are not expecting in a retreat like here. We try to explain the mindfulness with respect to the sensuous world and the material world, and the rest of refinement and repetitive application is your individual responsibility. You must have your way of life, you must have your surrounding in order to make it refined. Of course, theoretically we can discuss, but we can't do it in plurality. It is happening only in individual basis. So we group try to understand the mindfulness in the sensuous world and try to understand the mindfulness in the materialistic world. And when it is dwindling off, when it is tapering off, you have to explore, you have to assimilate your own middle path. No one can do it, but the Buddha is giving guidelines or hints. So therefore this is a kind of a threshold someone is preparing. So let it happen again and again. Facilitate it as much as possible. So you may develop your own skill. As I mentioned, keep your faith, keep your precepts, keep your mindfulness, and they will be your forerunner. They will be a guidance, and more you trust upon your own precepts and your own mindfulness in time to come.
Dear Bhante, when I do walking meditation, I can walk without thoughts very early. I do this for some time. When I feel like losing my balance, I'm aware of this. Please advise me. Thank you.
First two sentences, please.
When I do walking meditation, I can walk without thoughts very early.
Yeah.
Thoughts.
So of course, you are walking with legs, not with thoughts. So therefore, thoughts is not an impulsory important thing or compulsory thing. But many people, bus එකේ යන වෙනකොට කතා බස් එකේ තමයි යන්නේ. Bus means the vehicle, but in Sri Lanka we call kata bus, always talking. So even in walking meditation, the inner chatter is going. So they think as the third leg, you must have talking and thinking as a walking, not necessarily. So therefore, you may understand these thoughts are inert thoughts, they are background thoughts, or thought without a thinker. The day you understand, you may see in your stage how many dramas are taking place. Most of them are tragedies, and it is not your agenda. But without your permission, these drama taking place. The day you understand, you don't know how much energy you are burning, how much frustration you are having for these thoughts. The first stage is you understand without beyond your agenda it is happening. Yeah, okay. And see the beginning, you can't claim. You can't have a clear beginning, it is happening. Moment you observe it, you may understand there are 99% or 95% inert thoughts. There is no content. So, in order to do away with the thought with thinker as a thought without a thinker, you must know what is your soul is, where should you place your attention. That is what we keep left leg and the right leg. When and where there is no much of a distraction from the inner chatter, you keep left leg, right leg, noting or observing attentively. Ultimately, more and more your mind is with the left leg and the right leg, or in other words we can say with the tactile sensation, you can see thoughts are becoming less and less. So therefore, if you are going to tell the story from the thoughts point of view, you are utterly at lost. Instead, if you know how to report with respect to the left and the right, And if it is progressing, definitely you are going to end up with these inner thoughts. So therefore, don't fight with thoughts. Don't try to do away with that. Instead, try to maximize the touch, the tactile sensation, left leg or right leg. So ultimately, they will be replaced. So therefore, walking meditation is a very good, very pragmatic tactic for daydreaming, fantasizing, because you are walking with open eyes. So therefore easily you can understand inner thoughts with the thoughts. But when you close your eyes, you are completely in a dream world, very difficult to verify. That is why the walking meditation is prescribed, and many people do not consider even walking meditation as meditation. So those who know the pragmatic value of the walking meditation, they can understand it has a lot of the pragmatic elements, and very good for sleepiness, very good for inner thoughts, and pain you have in sitting. For that kind of questions or that kind of problems, walking meditation is very good. So often it is prescribed as a recovery of your disease. Or if you are in the very old age, walking meditation will be very good to keep the health as a mental and physical health. So therefore, in our timetable, we have gone 50-50. So therefore, in walking meditation, the day you understand the inner thoughts and your primary object, you may see you are walking on a carpet of thoughts. It's a full of thoughts, but you can walk upon. Still you can see left leg and the right leg. So that is how it is going to give the practical answer.
Venerable Sir, in sitting meditation, mind was waiting for something nice to happen. My mind kept thinking how well or bad I am doing compared to the other. How should we deal with this obstacle?
It is not an obstacle, because that is what you call motivation theory. Always we are motivated to have something good. And that is where in the Freudian psychology it says the pleasure principle. So you can understand from the morning to evening, we take so much of pain in order to get a better world or something betterment. And for that your motivation, once it manifested, you don't know where the energy comes and the strategies happen and the creativity comes. So therefore you have to understand the carrot. In the front of the donkey, there's a carrot. Donkey is always chasing. So work is done to the master. Donkey is chasing. So the day you understand you are chasing behind a carrot, if it's something golden or platinum or something, I think it is worthwhile, it's just a carrot. You will see any person can motivate. So therefore, as far as the carrot is your motivation, you can be controlled by a remote controller. Any person can press the button and you will be happy, you will be sad. So therefore, it is not in your hand. The day you understand it, it's a greatest discovery. We are being motivated or we are being monitored by remote control. After the enlightenment, the Buddha mentioned, Akuppa me cheto vimutti, ayamantima jati, natti dhani punabbhavoti. No more someone can control me. Akuppa. No one can agitate me. No one can make me happy, because my remote control I discontinue. I am doing what I do. So therefore, the moment you understand, many people says, you understand that bloody game at the deathbed. It is too late. You understand you are striving to be a better person with the others, and ultimately you die at the death, everything becomes zero. Everyone is zero. Then your whole effort useless. But in meditation, you advance that experience and just reconsider, what is this after all for this tension and frustration? Who on earth had that contentment before the death? No one. So therefore that reconsideration and see, I am nothing separate or nothing special from the other beings, because they have sensuous expectation, sexual expectation, materialistic expectation. So I am also yet another sensual, sentient being, and how that the better thing motivate myself. So always see, always look at it, and the day you understand it, you will see you understand not your mind, you understand the human mind. Each and every one is like that. So when you are reading more and more of the literature, you can see Buddha try to communicate this in different epithets, examples and different formulas, just to reconsider what is the motivation. Why should I have so much of frustration, disappointments and tension? Because I expect something better. This is the underlying tendency of the politicians. This is the underlying tendency of the economists. The underlying tendency, underlying the motivation of the socialist, and the people become very socially motivated. They don't know. They are motivating others also, and ultimately they become eccentric, they lose the present moment. That's the main purpose, is to lose the present moment. Future betterment. So therefore, anyone understand the more than the future betterment, to understand I am losing the present moment, I am eccentric. Instead, what about understand the future betterment and be aware of the present moment? It is, I would say, it is unhuman. You have to be the superhuman to understand the be here and now. So that is why we call they are spiritual, they are religious, and but the Buddha says it pragmatic. So don't do anything, but understand the motivation. It is always for the better future or pleasure principle. And many politicians and many scientists and everyone is promising that, but no one reached. The Buddha says, be aware of the ambiguity of the situation. It's a very good hobby, I would recommend.
That's all the written questions.
So we have taken about 45 minutes. So 10 to 15 minutes available if anyone needs any, present any.
May the blessings of the Triple J be with you, Reverend Sir. The question, this is not a question, this is a thing that I overheard, and I want to get a clarification on this from you. Some people who were discussing about Dhamma was saying that if you listen to too many Dhamma sermons and if you read too many Dhamma books, then you get carried away and you get swept away into the perversions of Dhamma and swept away from the path to Nirvana. So best thing is to listen to one or two Dhamma sermons and then carry on. And my problem is how to find out which Dhamma sermons to listen to and which not to. And I would value your opinion and clarification on this very much, Reverend Sir.
It's an easy question but difficult to answer because Dhamma means the nature. We consider the Buddhism as Dhamma, but the Buddha used Dhamma as the nature. So therefore, understand things as they are, where to start. And who is the person to really understand and who is the person who can really teach. Because each and every person says, I am the truth, I am my teaching of the truth, the others are wrong. So the Buddha says, therefore one criterion, if anyone says, idameva saccam mogamanyam, this is the truth, rest is wrong, please avoid that person. So simple, keep it open, and the Buddha, more than the teacher's role, the Buddha tried to give that particular person's sensitivity and down-to-earth character, rather than prescribing a supreme Dhamma or supreme teacher. It is a secondary. You must have your own understanding, your own confidence. The best you can see in the Kalama Sutta, Kesaputta Sutta, Buddha deny each and every criterion and ask, what do you feel? Killing is good or bad? He says, bad. Okay, you know, don't kill. Stealing, sexual misconduct. And then Buddha says, now you know already, so maximize it. Take the ethical values and do it. Don't expect anyone to come and teach us the truth. When you, present day, when you go to a supermarket, the same product, so much of brands, how to select? Each and everyone says ours is the best. So Dhamma also the same. So therefore, the teaching, the great task of the Buddha is not his own enlightenment, but teaching into someone. At the beginning he decided not to teach. Because people are not concerned, people are not geared into that. But later only out of command, not out of wisdom, please remember. Buddha's teaching is not out of wisdom. His teaching spread due to out of compassion, and he tried. And therefore, the having lot of option is, I never consider that as a limitation or as a problem. More option means you are more rich. But adverting to the correct one is no one can, there is no formula. It is the only method is trial and error method.
Just one more thing, sir. About Suttamaya Jnana, Chintamaya Jnana and Panyamaya Jnana. How do you get, where do you limit your Suttamaya, Chintamaya and Panyamaya Jnana?
Yeah, if I am to put it to English, it says that literal understanding, book understanding and the theory understanding, the Chintamaya, and inferential knowledge, rational knowledge, deductive knowledge is Chintamaya, and direct touch we call Panyamaya or Pachakkhanyana. So we have to start all the time the Suttamaya Jnana, the theoretical understanding. But once you come to the Panya or highest knowledge, then you can say this is Suttamaya Jnana, this is Chintamaya, this is Panyamaya or Pachakkhanyana. But at the Suttamaya Jnana level, please remember the sacred books in the world. That sect says, that religion says, this is the sacred book, you must adhere to that, don't read others. The other sect is, the religious people say, this is the sacred book, and you must adhere to that, don't look into that. So therefore, for them, Suttamaya is their own sacred book. So Buddhism also, we have the Tripitaka, but the Buddha is the only one. He told, don't look down others, you read it and see what is leading to lack of tension, what is leading to lack of frustration. So that you must have your own experience in the life, what is leading to stress and what is releasing from the stress, and that is the way you have to select the Dhamma. This is the first question came in the today's list. So that is the same thing I would like to present. Your own understanding of the frustration and your own understanding the lack of frustration is a very clear criteria. Okay, if there is no questions, we are going to take this hour for walking meditation. That means 2 to 3. 3 o'clock we are going to have a group sitting, and then 4 to 5 walking meditation, and 5 to 6:30 we are going to have another Dhamma talk or Dhamma session. That is just reminding from the timetable. So with this statement I am going to winding up the question and answer session. Thank you very much for the participation.